Are you ready to quit your 9 to 5 and pursue your passion full-time? We'll show you how. Create a business doing what you love. You're listening to the Quit Your 9 to 5 podcast with your hosts, Tamisha and Damian Duncan.
Today we are talking to the amazingly beautiful Megan Ward. You guys know Megan. She is the founder of Creatively Flawless, which is a branding agency. Your stuff is phenomenal. I have to first say that I've been following you for so long because your branding, I want you to tell us a little bit about your branding, but first of all, your Instagram page is fire. So I am all about the visuals and pretty stuff, and I landed on your page. I don't know how I landed on a page, and I just found myself like clicking through every image like, oh my God, I love this girl. She is fabulous, guys. And what I love so much about Megan is that your story actually hit home for me, because I know you talk a lot about you working in corporate America, and you were really passionate about your business and being young and not getting the respect that you felt like you deserved, or getting the raises that you felt like you deserved, and people kind of putting you in this box because you were young, but you were professional. But at the same time, what they didn't know is that you had a business already running on the side. And so that kind of motivated you to say, you know what, bump this. I'm going to go ahead and do my own thing. So I love that about you, that you took a risk and it worked for you. And the reason why we do this Quit Your 9 to 5 Academy is because so many people are like us. They want to do something. They're excited. They're passionate. They may have a side hustle, but they're afraid to take that risk because things may not be all lined up the way they want it to be. And so, Megan, you've done so many amazing things, and I'll let you talk to us a little bit more about what you've done. But one thing I do know, you had a recent feature in Black Enterprise magazine, right?
Yes, I sure did.
So your work has been featured in Vogue. You also have this amazing movement, the Powerful Women, and I'll let you tell us a little bit about that. But another reason why I actually fell in love with you is because you're very big on bringing women of all different backgrounds together to motivate them and inspire them. And we don't find that a lot, especially in the sisterhood, if you will, because women are always feeling like they have to compete with each other. But you are one person that thinks the total opposite, and I love and respect that about you. So that's what I wanted to share with my listeners. But you tell us a little bit about your business.
So my business actually started out in college. I was an independent contractor, so it kind of started out, I figured that I wanted to go into marketing, and I started to dabble into marketing in the different areas. I really wasn't keen on selling because I'm a creative at heart. So through undergrad, took the basic general studies classes, took the strategy, the marketing, but I'm like, hey, where's like the artsy stuff?
Right.
And we didn't have that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and incorporate marketing and art and creative all into one. So I started dabbling into design. And it wasn't even Photoshop, you guys. It was like paint. It was like it was like doing my thing on Word and PowerPoint and just all these different things, downloading fonts, like manipulating things. So I started to teach myself that in college. So, while everyone was partying and doing their thing, I was, at home teaching myself all these different skills. And I really got attached to it. So after design, I started to teach myself how to code, whether it was coding on WordPress or just doing different things in website design. I brought on a couple clients in college. I was motivated in college because at that time, my mom had lost her job. And so I was raised in a single mom household. And so she was the sole provider. So, she couldn't provide. There was no money coming in. So I'm a college student at this time. And, she had been helping me through school, and all of a sudden everything stopped. I had like this amazing apartment, and things did a 360. I had to move out of my apartment. I had to find someone to live with, and so things changed. And that really motivated me to really dig deeper into entrepreneurship, because obviously my $9 an hour job wasn't cutting it. It just was, working 20 hours a week and taking a full load of classes, it just wasn't doing the job.
Right.
So brought on a couple of clients in college, and that came about just from putting myself out there, whether it was on Craigslist or on my job site, just responding to posts, and it kind of grew from there. Word of mouth was huge, in college, and so I was securing, $300, $400 a month contracts, at 21, 22 years old, which was really great because it allowed me to see the bigger picture. I was one contract, it was about, I was working 1-2 hours a month on it, and, I was getting $400 from it. So I'm like, I'm making $9 an hour over here, and then I'm working an hour or two over here getting $400 a month for doing something that I love. So it started to make sense. So after that, I graduated, started corporate America, and still had my business on the side, but I kind of shifted gears. I said, hey, I'm sick of working with franchises, commercial companies, because that's who I was consulting for. I was like, hey, I want to work with women just like me. Why not? And so put myself out there. Instagram has been huge for me. I'm huge on the digital space, period. But really started to brand myself through different social media platforms, Instagram being one of them. And then that's when Creatively Flawless was birthed.
Nice. That's exciting. And so when you did all of these things and your mom wasn't working, were you having to supplement some of that income back to your mom? Like, how was that affecting your bottom line?
Yeah, it was actually, the story is so dynamic. I remember, her house was going into foreclosure. She was risking losing her car. So we made a lot of moves. I remember us switching cars. So I took over her car. She took over my car because she had the car note. I didn't. So we switched cars. So then I had the car note, which kind of motivated me because I'm like, hey, I got to make more money in my business now that I have this car note. And then I was able to bring on more contracts. And so yeah, we were definitely a team during that time. And in the business, if I wouldn't have started the business, who knows where we would be today.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think it would be, what it is today, but the business, it definitely helped. Yeah.
So when you were working in corporate America, now I know you said you did, you had a $9 an hour job, but then you transitioned out of that job into something else. So what were you doing in that job? Were you doing something similar, or was it something totally different?
It was very similar. 2 days after graduation, so I graduated December 2013. Started working January 2014. And it was like, oh, great. Like, I was praised because I had a job after graduation. I was making $15 an hour.
Gotta love it.
Everything was good. So as it seems. But yeah, I was doing marketing. I was doing website design and development. I was doing branding. I was working for a real estate firm in the area. Pretty large one. And just wasn't getting what I deserved. For me, at that time, I knew it wasn't right. However, I knew it was the status quo. So it was kind of like, okay, this is what everyone else is doing. Right. So you just, so I'm just doing it too. But I knew in my heart it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And first and foremost, for all of the listeners on this podcast, I just want to acknowledge you, Megan, for one, being being bigger than your circumstances. And what we want people to know, that just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't exonerate you from having circumstances in your life. But the whole fact of the matter is you have the power and the self-expression and the peace of mind being an entrepreneur. And also you made adjustments on the fly in order for sustainability. And a lot of people are not willing to deal with, they already have circumstances and don't realize that just because you make the shift from being an employee to an entrepreneur, people just have this false misconception of, oh, because I'm an entrepreneur, life is going to be great. You're going to have curveballs thrown at you all the time. And and I definitely acknowledge you for that. And also, one thing, you also made a great point about when everyone was at the club, you was working.
Yeah.
And people don't understand the importance of working while everybody's sleeping or while everybody's partying, because you gave yourself a competitive advantage. And people have to understand you got to put in the work. If you don't put in the work, you're not going to see the fruits of your labor, and that's the bottom line.
Especially being, in college, and it's all about partying and, having fun. Kids are like, I'm hanging out. I ain't sitting here working on no PowerPoint or, trying to figure something out. Like, you're doing that in college. So the fact that you were very committed and you see where it's brought you. And the other thing that I want to acknowledge you for is because back to kind of what Damien said, you could have easily just given up and been like, my mom is unemployed right now. So instead of you trying to build your business, you could have just been like, I got to put this to the side and I got to find me a job to pay me more. And instead you was like, okay, how can I make more money for me in my business? Mm-hmm. So, that was amazing for you to even think that way and put, you still put your mom and yourself first, but you did it in a smart way where it was elevating you instead of you. Because the average person would be like, I got to put this to the side now. I got to ditch my business and go find something more sustainable, because we never look at entrepreneurship as sustainable. I don't want to say we, but a lot of people don't look at entrepreneurship as sustainable.
Well, I think that just the biggest point of everything that you've said thus far is you didn't allow your circumstances to be bigger than you. Period. I mean, and a lot of people stay in their 9-to-5s because they may have accumulated so much debt and they feel like they're a slave to their debt, and they start believing this story. In order, you got to take a leap of faith, and you did that. And, like I said, I hope you listeners are taking notes, because this is some really good stuff.
So, Megan, I know you said that you already knew, kind of like me. I feel the same way. Like, I knew from the gate, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. But, you did what the status quo was. You got a job and, it was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so you kind of just fall in line with what our parents did or what society dictates. But you said something that was very powerful, which was you knew that was not something that you wanted to do. So when did you finally make the decision to say, you know what? And the thing about it was you were actually doing a lot of the things that you're doing kind of in line with your business. You were just doing it for someone else. So when was it that you finally made that decision to say, I think this is not, you wanted to pull the trigger, like this was not for you?
So I had been with the company for a year, and I was up for my yearly review, up for a raise, and I was pretty excited about it because when you're in a 9-to-5 and you get a raise, it's kind of like, ooh, I made it, in the corporate world. So I was up for this raise. I was sitting in my boss's office, and it was December. It was actually December of last year, around this time. Wow. But I could just remember him saying it just kind of vibrating through him. He said, "You're not getting your raise." And it was the most disheartening thing I've ever experienced. Wow. It was tough. It was tough because here I am, young. I'm educated. I'm a woman. I'm an entrepreneur on the side. I feel like I'm overperforming. And I'm told that I'm doing a great job. And I'm not getting the raise that I feel like I deserve. Mm-hmm. So it really affected my confidence. It really, it kind of put me in a rut for a while. Because I'm like, wow, like, just from this one decision, somebody has this much power over my life. And so after that, you know, I walked out of the office, and that was just on my heart. It was on my heart for, you know, for the next couple weeks. And so after that, I was scared. I was scared because I knew that I wasn't supposed to be there. Mm-hmm. However, I knew what I had to do. And so I remember, you know, we were up for our yearly marketing meeting. And I was leading the meeting. And I had 3 bosses at the time because there were 3 men who owned the company. And we're all sitting in the boardroom, about to start the meeting. And I don't know what came over me. And this was not, I feel like it was me, but it wasn't me. But I acted on impulse. And I said, before we start this meeting, I'm putting in my 2 weeks today. And going into the meeting, I had not planned to do that.
Are you serious?
And I can almost 100%.
I love that.
And I bet you that power was restored instantly.
Yeah,
instantly.
I did something similar too. I did something very similar too. But wow, that is crazy. And what did they say to you?
Literally, their mouths dropped.
That's usually the reaction that you always get, because you know why? Most of these bosses, I've noticed in my time, it's been a long time since I've quit. You know, we're talking about 9 going on 10 years that I quit. And I will tell you that nothing has changed. All of the stories are the same. And some of these bosses, what they do is they form this relationship with you, like they really care about you, but they're really digging into your life. Oh, so you just had a kid. Oh, you just got married. Oh, you just bought a new car. So in their mind, the interpretation or the translation is, oh, well, they're not going anywhere. Right. So now, you ever notice when you have a milestone in corporate America, you start to get more responsibility, more demands on your performance. And then, like you said, come promotion time or bonus time, that one time that you was late to work is the reason why you didn't get your raise. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Like, I am with you on that. And like you said, my power was restored right when I said that.
Yes.
I literally felt like I was rebirthed as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty amazing.
That is powerful.
Oh my God, that is so. So what happened next? Oh, you have something.
I was just going to say quickly. See, you have to understand this, listeners. When anything that takes away your self-expression, your power, or your peace of mind, there requires some kind of transformation. You got to leave it alone, because if you're going to sit there and let me come in an hour earlier for the next year, you still don't get that bonus. Quite frankly, what I'm saying is, no matter what you do, is never going to be enough in that world. You know, so you got to take a stand for your life and get your freedom back, as Megan is expressing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you told them before the meeting, you put in a 2-week notice.
You see how she smiles when she says that?
I know, it's like so amazing. I'm still like I did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I put in the 2-week notice. At that point, I became the boss. In a sense, they were like, what do we do? You know, what do we do without you? And so at that point, I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'll train someone. And so we just started to make that transition. Mm-hmm. I was making the transition as well, you know, just mentally preparing myself for entrepreneurship and knowing that, you know, because I did it part-time for so long. Right. So now, you know, this being my life, I had to prepare myself for that, you know, whether it was the wins, the losses, the trials, you know, all these different things were kind of, you know, this is what you're going to have to go through. You know, it's no more leaning on someone else anymore. Right. It's really all on you. So yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about when you made that shift from being an employee to a boss, BOSS, on how, like, the shift in mindset that you had?
Yeah, so the shift in mindset, I don't want to say that it came instantly, because, this has been years long worth of planning, prepping, intentional or not. But I really had to understand that, hey, this is not just, this is not a game,
right?
This is how you're not only going to change your life and your family's life, but change the lives of, thousands, hundreds of thousands of other people. And that's what I had going into it. This is more than about me. Mm-hmm. This is about my family, who I want them to move out of their 9-to-5s into entrepreneurship. This is about my current clients and my future clients who are working their way out of their 9-to-5s. This is about, this, we'll talk about the powerful women, but this is about the powerful women who are working their butts off, and who are excellent at what they do, and creating the life of their dreams. So yeah, I really had to understand that, that the decision that I made affected so many other people. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we make decisions for ourselves that's really about others. And still to this day, that's what I feel like it is. Whether it's motivating somebody else to seek their dreams. Today, like, I'm living my dream just off of one decision, and just sharing that power and letting someone know that, hey, this is the power that you have over your life. It's priceless.
It is priceless. It is priceless. And that's why I feel like it's so important for other people to hear people's stories like yours, Megan, like ours, and like all the other, powerful entrepreneurs that we're talking to, because you don't see that when you're in the 9-to-5 and you're in the rat race, and you have somebody else has power over you. There's so many things you become accustomed to this routine, and you don't really see the power that you have. Like something that you said a little while ago resonated with me so much, and that was that the minute that you said that, you became the boss. Like you were empowered at that moment. Like you felt like you were reborn, because I could absolutely relate to that. Like being in a job for so long and having all of these doubts and fears and still running your business, but not really knowing what's on the other side, wanting it really badly, but because of our fears or whatever it is that's going on in our head, we don't, we feel like, I gotta wait to do this because, and it's really saying, we're either not worthy of it, or we're saying we don't have the power to make it happen. And once you realize that transformation is amazing. And I know when I finally blurted out, I did something so similar to you. We were getting ready to have a Monday meeting, and I was like, yeah, can I talk to you for a minute? Yeah, so I'm leaving. My manager was like, what? What do you mean? I was like, yeah, I'm leaving, and here's my 2 week notice.
And I was sitting at home just waiting for that phone call.
So you were a little bit more impulsive than me, though, because I actually thought about it over the weekend. I was like, babe, I think I'm done. And he was like, yo, go for it. Do it. Let's do it. I've been talking about it for a long time. I put dates on it. The date came and left, and I was just like, well, I'm not quite ready yet. I need this and that and this. And then after a while, I was like, you're playing yourself. You're done. Let's wrap it up. And
another thing I want to talk about, you'll probably hear me talk about this all the time, is the type of language that you use.
Yeah.
Now, by you saying, you said something, if I didn't take the step of just quitting my job, you don't know where you would be now. And people have to listen to that, because you eliminated, I could have, I should have, and you just did it. There's a difference. You see that deliberate action you took yielded a result that, and then also, you talked about, pretty much being a servant to your, for lack of a better word, but we are servants to our clients, because we are enrolling and inspiring them to follow their dreams and do great things. Mm-hmm. So people have to understand that being an entrepreneur comes with responsibility.
Right.
And you are definitely exerting that, and that is just amazing.
So one thing that I know, you made an impulsive decision, which was probably one of the best decisions you've made for your career. But you were working your business part-time. So where were you in the state of your business? Because, the reality is we take the plunge, we leave, and we want things to be perfect, but it doesn't always work that way. So you didn't just leave, after 2 weeks and then you jump into 6 figures. Like, what did your business look like at that time?
I think that's a very important question, Tanisha. I am huge on talking about money, especially in the women's space, and a majority of my clients being women. It's something that we shy away from, because we've been so uncomfortable with it for so many years as a collective. But I remember at that time, I was like, when I quit, I don't want to just quit and be broke. Right. That was really important for me because I was like, I want to be a success. So when I quit, it's going to be the right time for a number of different reasons. So financially, at that time with my business, I had just brought on one of my biggest clients ever, and that was Alakay Naturals. Alakay Naturals is a beauty-based brand in over 500 Target and Sally Beauty supply stores. Wow. So I had just brought on Alakay, and that kind of solidified, okay, and it was a 12-month contract at that time. So I was like, at least I get 12 months to kind of figure this thing out financially. So that kind of secured me. Okay. In addition, I had my, regular rolling clientele. So yeah, in terms of like quitting at a time, when it's the right time, purpose-wise and financially. I think that's if your business isn't making any money, you do not need to be quitting your 9 to 5. Right. You just don't. It's like basics. How are you going to pay your bills if you're not making any money in your business? And I think that's really, really important. Financial literacy is something I'm huge on. It's big for me. So yeah, at that time I had a couple clients, and I had started outsourcing for clients, which I had never done before. So whether that was sharpening my Instagram, or freshening up my website, or creating a client experience, I was like prepping myself for this total haul of my business. So yeah, it was the perfect time at that time.
Great, that's amazing.
And I think you touched on financial literacy, and I definitely want to let individuals know that you can have all the passion in the world, but you also need to learn how to run a business. Right. And that's another reason why a lot of people stay in their 9 to 5, because they don't have to deal with that kind of responsibility. And so again, I just stress the importance that being an entrepreneur, unfortunately, it's not for everyone. That was a tough pill for me to swallow. But you have to engage and like you said, back to the basics. Learn financial literacy. Get a business checking account. Create a LLC, S Corp, C Corp. I mean, we stress that very highly over here. It's just, having the passion and actually starting the business is one thing. Right. But sustainability is very important as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's very important because, like you said, if your business is not making money, you don't have a plan to say, okay, I got this, that, and the third lined up, then you don't need to be quitting your job, because you need money to make money, and a lot of people don't really understand that, but you do. Yep. And so, you have to be able to have a plan. Even if you don't have any savings, you have to be able to have a plan to say, okay, listen, this is what's coming up. This is how I'm going to, this is what I need to make sure I can sustain my bills for the next couple of months. And this is how I'm going to get it. We want to make impulse decisions sometimes, but you made an impulse decision to leave, but you had backing. You knew, okay, you know what? I'm done. I'm not dealing with this Monday meeting. I'm going to shut this down right now and let them know I'm putting in my 2-week notice. But you knew what was going to hold you down until you got your business where you got it. So now we're here a year later. Tell us some of the amazing things that Creatively Flawless has been able to do, Megan has been able to do with your business within the last year.
Goodness, this year has been absolutely amazing. Really out of my wildest dreams. Earlier this year, I got to, I had brought on Allocated Naturals, and I got to work with Times Square. So I had a couple designs featured there, and that was a really, really fun project. Got to work with Essence, Curlbox. Right now I'm working with the Main Choice, which is the #1 independently owned hair vitamins owned by a woman. So that's great. Got to work with Vogue. Another one of my ads will be featured. What is this? Oh, in February, this upcoming February. That was a great experience. So yeah, it's been literally opportunity after opportunity. The Black Enterprise article went live 2 weeks ago. That was an awesome experience. Just getting my story out there. I'm a regular entrepreneur. I'm just like everyone else. I'm dedicated. I'm focused. I'm willing to be excellent. I think that's very important. The excellence component in business.
Yes.
And not settling. I say no more than I say yes.
Yes.
Very,
very important. Oh my God.
That is the key.
I'm so glad you said that.
Let me tell you something.
Things come your way and you're so excited that somebody's interested in you or an opportunity comes up and you're like, yes. But you don't realize how that's affecting your bottom line and your brand and all these other things. So I'm so glad you said that.
That's also an indication too. When you can say more no's than the yes, that means you have more business than you can handle. That is awesome.
And you're intentional. You're intentional about how you want your brand and your business to be perceived, to come across, that experience is like. You're very intentional with your business. And if you want to be successful, you have to be intentional. And you have to be strategic in, what you do and what's good for the Creatively Flawless brand and what's not. So that's really amazing for you to be strong enough to make that decision and say, nah, this isn't for me,
We're talking about all the good things, but I'm gonna throw a little monkey wrench on this conversation and play devil's advocate. So,
there you go.
So let me ask you a question. When you, prior to, quitting, just on the fly, did you discuss it with anybody? And was it anybody in your immediate circle that opposed this move?
You know what? So my husband, he was my fiance at the time. I had been telling him for a while, I want to quit, and he was like, "Do it." He's still in his 9 to 5. He's not ready. He's pursuing entrepreneurship, but he's not ready yet. Everyone has their time,
right?
But he was like, "It's your time." He's like, "Do it." And so my mom, I'm really close with my mom as well, and so I remember her saying, work a little bit in corporate. Like, she was like, I don't think you're ready just yet. She was like, I remember her saying, she's like the corporate queen. So she's really, really, she has strong feelings about corporate. She's like, work for Essence, be like the CEO of Essence for a while. I'm like,
that was still a
I love her ambition.
That was still a great
but
goal.
you know how our parents are. They come from I couldn't even tell my parents before I quit because I knew they were going to be like, you did what? And I just didn't want to hear that right now. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm working from home now. They got me working from home every day indefinitely until I was really ready to say it.
And I asked that question for a reason because the people in our immediate circle, if we allow it, they can shape how the direction our life is going to go. My mom, my mom and my dad, my dad was doing IT before it was called IT, and my mom was this big time boss in the bank. So that's all I saw. So, and coming to my mom and saying that, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur is like speaking another language because they, in their times of working, that's when people were really rewarded for the fruits of their labor in their business. It was acknowledged. And I noticed as I went through the helms of working for people, it was never enough. and I had to make a change really fast. So I definitely, that's why I asked that question, because there's so many people who are stuck in their way because they're allowing the people in their immediate circle to influence their decision.
Right. Absolutely. So what advice would you give somebody that's in the same situation? They want to leave, but they have their side business. They really want to do it, but they have fears that's holding them back. What advice would you give them?
So a huge part of entrepreneurship is a personal development journey. I feel like you have to do that first before thinking about, I want to be a boss. I want to have my own business. Really understanding your purpose. Anybody can have a business and sell a product. But true business owners have purpose attached to it. That for me, that's what gives it longevity. Are you passionate about it? Can you see yourself doing it 20 years from now? Do you look at it as a job? That personal development journey first, and really being intentional about that. Mentally preparing yourself. And then after that, that's when, prepping yourself for actual business building.
Right.
That's why I feel like it should start. In a sense, I don't want to say you have to be fearless, because I was scared, but how can you manipulate fear? Can you use fear to propel you? Because I kind of had fear on my back, but I was just jumping in. That's how I manipulated fear. So in a sense, you don't have to be so much fearless, but using that fear to catapult you into living the life that you want.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm glad you said that, because we sometimes, especially in our culture, we look at fear. I know for me, and I blame my dad for this, but it is what it is. He wanted to raise very strong-willed women. And so I have nothing but, sisters in my family. And so we are very tough because of him wanting us to be able to stand on our own and support ourselves and deal with anything. And a lot of times people think showing fear is a weakness, but being able to say, yeah, I was scared as hell. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I did it,
Right.
I mean, you have to be one with yourself and know your limitations and know, okay, yeah, I am scared, but this is how I'm going to overcome it, And so I'm glad that you shared that, because people are always like, yeah, I can't, I would love to do that, but I can't, because they feel like we have this special battery on our back, or we have special powers that, propel us to do certain things. And we really don't. We're letting fear be the motivation, actually. Fear is that motivation. Like, okay, I don't want to fall on my face. I'm not going to fail. So what am I going to do to make sure that I'm getting bills paid? I'm doing what I want. I'm making money. That's how you turn that fear into something that's going to motivate you. So thank you so much for sharing that. That was very powerful.
And even, you like just alluding back to when you said that you actually quit the job and how everybody's mouths dropped to the floor. It has so much of an impact, because even your bosses, your co-workers, they want to do this.
Yeah.
Everybody is just conforming to what society thinks that it's okay or you supposed to be doing for stability. There is no stability. There's corporate takeovers. Things happen so crazy now where you can come into work today and be gone tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And so in my opinion, where's the security in that? There is no security.
Right.
So, again, when you were able to restore your power, and everybody's jaws was dropped to the ground. I mean it's an impact that it has. Now they're figuring out, man, this person, we ain't give that raise. Maybe if we'd have gave that raise to her, she would still be here.
Yeah.
And I can tell you from my experiences, there are a lot of bosses that want to keep you in captivity with them. And so I definitely acknowledge you again for just saying, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because when I walked away. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going back. See ya.
And to your point earlier, it's like you would not have, you've accomplished more for yourself and your business within this year that you've that you've quit than you've done over the course of your, secular career. And this is something that you're doing for you. I want you to tell the people about the Powerful Women, because I think that movement is so important, and I really love what it represents. I love what it stands for, and I want you to share a little bit about what that is with the listeners.
First of all, let me say that the Powerful Women makes me feel invincible. Being a part of this amazing network comprised of so many different women of different background, experiences, professions, mindsets. It's amazing, and we all have one thing in common. We're excellent, we're kind, we're willing to do what it takes to move towards our dreams. But they have been my accountability this past year for a great bulk of everything that I've done. It's really reshaped the way that I view women, the way that I connect with women, the way that we interact with each other. Literally, if you come to like a Powerful Women event or an outing with us, people are just wowed, with how we interact with each other. I always say, like, we disrupt social norms between women. Like when a woman, let's say two women are at the mall and they don't know each other, and they just, they acknowledge each other, and they just acknowledge each other in a very content way. It's always very bland. When you interact with the Powerful women, it's very, what do I want to say? It's so authentic, and it's authentic in a sense that we've erased what society has taught us about the way that we interact with each other. So instead of assuming the worst, which we do, if we see a woman and we pass her, it's like, oh, she was staring at me, or oh, she wasn't feeling me. When with the Powerful Women, it's like, oh, she loves me. Oh, she is totally digging me. Like, she supports me. I feel celebrated. And it's great.
That's powerful.
It's truly, it's truly something that I want all women to experience. And I even catch myself. We're all about dissecting the woman's ego. And so we have uncomfortable conversations. I do a lot of business with business partners who have turned friends. And so we have like dissected that, and how do we have a disagreement without like getting mad at her and cutting her off? Or how do we do business and friendships and sisterhood all in one? So just different things that really society doesn't want us to do.
Right.
It's been an amazing experience. When people ask me, they're like, okay, so, the Powerful Women are creatively flawless. I say both, but the Powerful Women to me right now, it's really shaping who I am. And so that for me, that hits home right now. And I was on a webinar a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about women empowerment, and like they were like, woo, you went to 0 to 100, like and I'm like, I know, I'm just so passionate about it. But yeah, the Powerful Woman is definitely embarking on a change for womankind.
Yeah,
and for women of color.
That is, and I was going to say, one thing for sure in women of color, we need that. We need that so much, because we've been, as you said, that was a great example you said about, being in the mall, and your initial reaction when you see a beautiful woman or a woman in general, you got to check her out and pick her apart.
Yeah.
Oh, please, that bag ain't real, or, whatever it is, or she thinks she cute, or whatever it is. You have to, we tend to pick each other apart and not support each other. instead of building up each other and collaborating with each other and celebrating each other, which I think is so important. We could get so much more done as a unit than we can separately. So I really applaud you for taking the initiative and starting that movement, because it does wonders for people's confidence, their self-esteem, the way they view themselves. You know, we're constantly judging each other in a world that's already judging us as a whole, and then we go in and judge each other, you know, deeper within that. And so to see beautiful women such as yourself doing other things for other women, you know, the natural reaction would be, oh, she's gorgeous, so she's obviously stuck up, you know, she's stuck up, or she's this or she's that. And we put up these, you know, we categorize people before we even know who they are and what they represent. So I really, really love that, you know, part of your movement in not just developing your business, but developing, you know, a movement alongside your business is amazing, because you've taken time to not only build up yourself, but build up other people along that journey. And so that definitely is something that deserves commendation and, you know, being applauded for that, because not too many of us, women of color especially, do that. And also, you know, for the Quit Your 9 to 5 listeners, I mean, we went from 0 to 1,000, because when you said you quit, you went from 0 to 100. And if you can see how she's smiling. But she said with the powerful woman movement that she feels invincible. Let me ask you a question. Anybody that's currently in their job right now, do you feel invincible at your job? Probably not. And just to hear that word invincible, you know, power. She's, you know, restored that power. She has a self-expression. She has a peace of mind. And she's doing what she wants to do, which is empower women. And that's a great thing. And I definitely applaud the women's movement. And it kind of saddens me with the men movement, because we're extinct. And one of the things that I'm doing is, you know, taking accountability and leading that charge as well. So you've definitely given me a ton of inspiration to get the guys back, because we're all over the place.
Yeah.
We're not even here. And so I really applaud the women's movement, because it's not only empowering, but it's also inspiring.
Thank you.
So that was amazing, Megan. You did an amazing job. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Oh man, we could talk.
Right? I know. I could be like, so let me ask you this, but no, I'm not going to do that. We'll talk offline. So, Megan, first of all, tell the beautiful people out there, where can they find your awesomeness?
Well, Instagram is great. I'm a fan of Instagram. You can find me Creatively Flawless, CreativelyFlawless. If you want to get a little bit more personal with me, you can follow me on my personal Instagram, Megan Vogus, MEAGANVOGUIST.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, and I look forward to, you know, in 2016 to have all of us amazing people in one room or one building, because could you imagine
So oh my goodness, so we can get on another tangent. So we need to create a think tank.
Oh my God, I can't believe that you said that. Oh my goodness, yes we are.
Like,
no, seriously, yes.
Okay, have a great day.
You too.
Okay,
bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Quit Your 9 to 5 podcast with your hosts, Tamisha and Damian Duncan. We'll catch you next time.